a 60-pound stone.
Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters for the Union. I'm so happy to be here, and like you heard, it's my first time voting, and I'm from the Dominican Republic, and I'm so proud member of UAW. Everything you heard today about Kamala Harris' leadership is true. She helped spark manufacturing boom in Michigan, and everybody knows it, right? One that kept factories open and created a good-paying union jobs. The leadership that Vice President Harris has demonstrated, her commitment to Michigan workers, isn't just about passing good policies. It's about changing people's lives for the better. That's the kind of leadership we need in Michigan. And it's something Donald Trump could learn think about too. During his first term, Donald Trump lost almost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, including almost in the auto industry. He talked for 4 years about passing infrastructure bill, but he never actually get it done. And he passed a massive tax cut for the richest people in the country at the expense of working families. Your family, my family. If he wins this November, it will be so much worse. Trump, it will start by repealing progress and we made to revitalize auto sector and create jobs for thousands of union workers. Make it harder to join in a union and give another tax break into his wealthy donors. That's bad, right? Trump could be more disconnected from working people if he tried. You think he's going to be the one looking out for rank of the fellow union members? No. Okay. No, me, I don't think so. At the UAW, we know who will have our back, who will stand with our state and carry forward. That candidate is Kamala Harris. And that's the reason I'm supporting her in this race. And to hear a bit more about it, that's why I like to bring up the main event. A born-bred Midwesterner, a teacher, and lifelong advocate for workers. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce you to the next Vice President of the United States, Governor Tim Walz.
Wow. Well, hello, Michigan. Have a seat, have a seat. Well, it's good to be in the house that Labor built here to UAW Region 1A. Thank you, folks, for that. Congresswoman Dingell, it's good to see you. I would like to know when you find time to sleep because all you're doing is working. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Congressman Tendar, great pleasure to see you. Again, you're out there, you're doing the work, you're getting things done. Thank you for that. Did I see the Lieutenant Governor was here? Did he show up or not? Oh, he's working hard too. He does everything. I went to church with him a few weeks ago, and that was a good one too. Again, Sandra, thank you for that, and to UAW, thank you for everything you do. Thank you to Labor, all Labor that's here today. That big shout out we know. I said, from pipe fitters to nurses to electricians who power this country, and I'm especially proud as a former dues-paying member of our state educators association in Minnesota. So glad of that. But to each of you, thanks for coming out on a beautiful Friday. I continue to say this, and it inspires me. You could quite literally be anywhere else, but you're here for the simple reason that you love this country. And so thank you for that. Thank you. I don't know if you know or not, but the election's 4 days away. So you are as happy as I am about that. But look, what a privilege. This election will shape generations to come. I think we know that. And there are still folks out there making up their mind. And I know you've heard it, you've seen it in your life, or if you're door knocking or phone calling, you got folks that I hear them saying this, well, I really don't like Donald Trump's personality and how he acts. And I'm like, really, you think? Maybe? You don't like it? But then they say, but I liked his economy. It was pretty good. This is where we need to be a little bit clear. They're being a little fuzzy about the memory of Donald Trump as during his time as president. During the time Donald Trump was president, we lost 2.7 million jobs, 280,000 jobs in Michigan alone, 9,000 in the auto industry when 6 plants closed. Look, Donald Trump botched the pandemic response so poorly. Not only did we lose 10 million jobs, we were pitted into a hunger game against our neighbors to find toilet paper. That's how bad it was. So now, I suppose it wasn't too bad, thinking back to that economy. If you're a billionaire, Elon Musk, for example, say, that guy got it. Michigan knows that word. Look, that dude got a tax cut and the rest of us got shafted on the whole deal. That's how that worked out. So a few months ago, some of you, and I know UAW, I know the president of this union knows very well, Donald Trump was caught on tape chatting with Elon Musk as they were laughing about, if a group of folks goes on strike, just fire them. Just fire them. And they laughed about that. Yeah. And to UAW, and I'll say this again, just to give you a little bit more twist to get going here these last 4 days, Donald Trump said, quote, they don't build cars. They take them out of the box and they assemble them. A child could do it. He couldn't open the damn door to a garbage truck, let alone. But here's where it gets scary, because we can think about this. This guy, and this race is close, could be president of the United States again. And he said when he is, he will put his running mate, his buddy Elon, in as Trump's economy czar, be the economy czar. Now, Elon said to fix this economy, what we'll have to do is crash it to save it. We'll have to crash the economy. But he told you, get ready, Americans are going to have to face some hardships. So the question all of us are asking, what in the hell does a billionaire know about hardship? He promised that he would cut $2 trillion in spending. Now you go to folks out there and they're thinking about this. How can you know what $2 trillion is? Just so you know, the United States every year, our entire budget for discretionary spending is $1.6 trillion. So you start to figure this out, because your math is obviously better than Elon's and Donald's. That would mean they have to turn to programs like Social Security and Medicare to cut to find that money. Because, oh, God help us that we could ask Elon and Donald to pay their fair share of taxes to make up the difference. That would be a way to do it. But J.D. Vance was very specific. He said, we do have to go after Social Security. They've talked about raising the age. Now, Speaker Johnson, who apparently has nothing else to do because they haven't done a damn thing in the House of Representatives, did find time to say that there will be no Obamacare after they're elected. And then someone apparently told him yesterday, well, people like Obamacare. And then now he's saying, well, I didn't really mean that. It's, you got to gut that. Look, you know what they mean. You know exactly what they mean. All those times Donald Trump tried to gut it, what it means to you is, it means you put insurance companies back in charge and they can start discriminating against pre-existing conditions. The genius, so many things in there, the genius of the ACA, Obamacare, was it took the power away from insurance companies and gave it back to people. And some of you have to do this. It's still hell. You try and go in and make a claim to the insurance company, they know how to do this. If you're an insurance company and you want to make money, what you do is you pick the healthiest people and you insure them. And then the folks who have a pre-existing condition, like women, like people who have asthma or whatever, people who might cost more money to you, you just don't insure them. And then you make it harder to make claims. The ACA said, to hell with that. People need to get health care. They need to get their claims, and it needs to be affordable. That's what it is. Now, Donald, who, by the way, got in that garbage truck wearing French cuffs with cufflinks. No one I know wears those things to begin with, but trying to tell us he's a regular guy. And then he turns around and tells us, oh, I've got a concept of a plan to help you, concept of a plan to help you with health care. You know what his concept of a plan was? He ran on repealing the ACA. First day in office, he had an executive order to repeal the ACA. He signed on to a lawsuit to repeal the APA, and Congress tried 60 times to repeal the ACA. The only reason that we have health care for so many millions of Americans is John McCain had the courage to go in there and say no. That's why. That's why. So to those undecided folks, the only thing, he talks about this, he talks about manufacturing. The only thing he knows how to manufacture is bullshit, and he's continued to do it. And he's continued to do it. His presidency was an endless string of broken promises. He came, remember this, he came, I know the Congresswoman remembers this, said under his presidency, you won't lose a single plant. You won't lose a single manufacturing plant. And I said this, technically he did not lie. You lost 6 plants. Across the country, including right down the street in Warren. And that's one that he said you would not lose. Trump gave tax cuts to the very companies that shipped those jobs overseas. He encouraged automakers to move out of states like Michigan and move to anti-union states so they could save money and pay their workers less. He should probably have been able to figure this out. There's a reason that unions across Michigan, from the Teamsters to the laborers to the operating engineers to UAW, have endorsed Kamala Harris for president. There's a reason President Fain gave a very clear definition when he said Donald Trump's a scab, plain and simple. That's where he was. Now look, he's not thinking how to make your life better. He's not thinking about you at all. Folks, I get it. You're tired, you're stressed, you're ready for this thing to be over, you're feeling the anxiety, you're on the roller coaster, oh, it's good, oh, it's bad, oh, it's good, oh, it's bad. You know that thing or whatever? Look, don't do any of that. There's one antidote to this, and it's the best one. Go out and vote for Kamala Harris to be president. That's it. I had a mayor the other day in Pennsylvania say, instead of ringing your hands, go ring doorbells. That's what you need to do. Go ring doorbells. Get people on. Try it. It works. I voted last week, and I had the privilege last week of my son turned 18 and cast his first vote in there. So, good. Because you know what he and all of us has? This is our chance to turn the page on Donald Trump and to put in a new generation of leadership. Kamala Harris, under her leadership, we've seen over 400,000 jobs come back to Michigan. 730,000 manufacturing jobs come back since her time in office. Donald Trump lost 6 auto plants. We've opened 20 under their leadership, and we're just getting started. And it was Kamala Harris who cast the deciding vote to make sure GM's $500 million investment in the Lansing Grand River plant could happen. That saved, and thank you for the work, thank you to members of Congress for making this happen, that saved 650 jobs and created 50 new ones that are on the way. Now, J.D. Vance went out there and said that he and Trump might cancel that grant to make sure that we send those jobs to China. When he was asked about those jobs, he said that investment was table scraps, as a quote, in Lansing. Now, what I would say is, I want him to go stand in front of those 650 families in those good UAW union jobs, the ones that are working those jobs to put actual food on their table, and tell those people to those face that that is table scraps to them. Now, look. Vice President Harris and our administration knows. We know how important it is to protect the right to collectively bargain, the right to organize, the right to form a union. And I could tell you this. Some of you know this fight. I fought this fight in Congress. I was there as a member, as a governor, to fight the fight when pensions were under threat. You work your entire life for your defined benefit pension plan. And then we were being told over 1.1 million people were going to get pennies on the dollar across this country. 80,000 right here in Michigan, including the Teamsters and the carpenters right in this room and right here in Detroit area. Look, she went to bat for that, and those pensions are now secured, and they will get what's rightfully theirs. So thank you to all of you. And look, you saw it, you've seen it, and it happened again today. Donald Trump continues to spiral into a hateful, divisive place where we don't want to go. Kamala Harris stood on the National Mall and spoke like a president. She spoke clearly to a future, a united president, a new way forward. She was very clear about this. On her first day in office, she will go into the White House with a to-do list for the American public, not an enemies list who she thinks is against her, as Donald Trump adds to that list every single day. Look, right off the top on that to-do list, reducing costs for middle-class families, bringing down cost of everyday goods. I wear this as a badge of honor. When I had the privilege of being selected to be Kamala Harris's running mate, we did our financial disclosures, and a newspaper said, well, this guy might be the poorest guy who's ever run for vice president in history. Not poor, but I lived on a teacher's salary. Thank God I was in a union that helped me. Teachers know. Look, like all of us, I didn't expect to get rich teaching, but I didn't take an oath of poverty, and I sure the hell don't want somebody like Donald Trump crapping on my job or telling me that they're not valuable like each and every one of us in this room. The thing to remember on this ticket is Kamala Harris grew up in a middle-class family too. She understands what it's like. She knows what it's like. She was the priority for her every single day. Her single mother was trying to make ends meet to buy that house for her. And she often says, how great is America where a middle-class kid from Oakland and a middle-class kid from rural Nebraska can be running for president and vice president of the United States. So we know that there's things that we need to do. She will enact the first ever federal ban on price gouging to make sure middleman doesn't cut the money out. Let's give one thing on this. I was sitting with a farmer yesterday up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and we were talking about this, and I asked him, I said, when food, right now, bushel of corn runs about $4.10 a bushel is what my farmers are getting for it. And I asked him, and I said, so when food prices were about 30% lower, how much were you getting for a bushel of corn? About $4.10. So you do the math. Farmers aren't making any more money. You're paying more for this. But there's one thing that's happened in the meantime. Corporate profits have gotten really big. Somebody's taking money in the middle right out of your pocket. That's what we're talking about on a national price gouging ban. That's what we could do. And Donald Trump did follow through. When he took those rich people down to Mar-a-Lago and said, you're rich as hell, I'm going to give you a tax cut, he did that. Kamala's got a little different thing. She's talking to all the American public, and she said, if you're one of the 100 million Americans in the middle class, you're going to not see your taxes go up. You're going to get the tax cut, including $6,000 child tax credit. Those are the things that we can do. Capping insulin at $35 for the vial, that's the one thing. It makes a big difference. Look, I tell everybody this. They're selling that little vial of insulin. That's not like a nice to have thing. That's not like a new pair of shoes or something. That's life and death for people. They were selling that stuff for $800 a vial. It costs them $5 to make it. Capping it at $35 makes sure everybody who needs life-saving insulin can get it. And she wants to extend that to everybody in the country. And those in this room of a certain age, like I just told you, I got an 18-year-old on this side, and I got a nearly 90-year-old mother on this side. We're the sandwich generation that they're talking about, making life more affordable for all of us. And one of the biggest things that would change this is Kamala has proposed making sure Medicare pays for in-home care for our seniors so they can stay in their home. Smart. There's some young folks in here. Trust me on this one. Once you get to be 60, you spend about half your day thinking about Medicare. So it will happen because you know you're going to want to get it because you need it. But she's also talking about enhancing Medicare. I don't think many of you, if you're younger, know this. Right now, Medicare doesn't pay for vision, for glasses, and hearing aids. Kamala says that's wrong. We should make sure that it happens, and we can. That's the things we can do. Then home ownership. making 3 million more affordable homes out there, but also giving the assistance for a $25,000 down payment assistance to get folks in the door to get started. Small business tax credit going from $5,000 to $50,000. If you want to start your own small business, the average cost is about $40,000 to get off the ground. You can get a tax cut to do that. Now, I got to ask, how are you going to pay for that? Well, for starters, we'll ask Don to pay his taxes, and then we can get him started. He hasn't paid federal tax 10 of 15 years. But in this room, and it's the lived experience that I've had, we know this for a fact, and Kamala knows this. When unions are strong, America's strong. It's that simple. In Minnesota, I signed the largest and the biggest package of poll worker policies into law in Minnesota's history. Made it easier for workers to form a union, strengthening worker protections and safety, and then we did something that I know all of you probably had to deal with before, but we made illegal in Minnesota so you couldn't do it. Banned those damn captive audience meetings where they take you in. Can't do it. And both Kamala and I have walked picket lines side by side with you, including the UAW, when they went on strike to win a fair contract last year, and we're proud to do it. She's made it clear we'll sign the PRO Act, making it easier for more people to be able to go in. I would go back, when they did that little story about our financial disclosures, after they ran that story about my finances, they did a second one and said, well, actually, he has more money than you'd think. And they were like, oh, it's an expose. He's like hiding things because I don't own any stocks. I've never bought any. I don't do this, whatever. You know what their thing was where I had money? I had a defined benefit pension plan. That wasn't the flex they thought it was, because my answer to that was, I wish everybody in America had a defined benefit pension plan. Look, we know there's things we can do. We need to build faster. We need to cut red tape. We need to make it easier to build and able to get things off the ground. We need to eliminate unnecessary degree requirements so that if people have the skills to get a job and show they can get a job, over 1 million jobs in federal government, if you can do the job, you should be able to get it without the degree requirement. Get them in. And unlike Donald Trump, who looks up to the leadership of China, of Xi Jinping, as being something, he says he rules his people with an iron fist. That's good or whatever. Kamala Harris will never bow to China. We will never cut bad trade deals, and we will put American workers first in every single instance. So in those short couple minutes, that's a plan. Not a damn concept of a plan, but a plan. And we're proud of it. Donald Trump, though, does have a plan. Project 2025 has been clear, and you've heard me say this. They're like acting now. We don't know anything about Project 2025. We've never heard of it or whatever. J.D. Vance said, I don't really know anything about it. He wrote the foreword to the book of the architect of Project 2025. I have never written a foreword to someone's book, but I'm pretty sure I'd remember it if I did. So he did it. And look, as a football coach, I know you don't draw up a playbook if you don't plan on running the plays. They're going to run the plays. This playbook is a nightmare for American workers. Be very clear. It would repeal the bipartisan infrastructure law. It would repeal and pull back the Inflation Reduction Act, threatening and pulling back hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs, many right here in Michigan, to send those jobs overseas. It would allow employers to stop paying overtime, and it would stop the ability to collectively bargain, because make no mistake about it, these folks want to kill unions because it's workers' voices and it adds more corporate profit to them without any firewall between that. Project 2025 lays that out, but here's the thing. They are never going to be president, and they're never going to be able to enact those things. This guy, Trump's the only person who believes that if you put tariffs on, if you put a tariff on, that acts as a national sales tax. 20% additional cost you $4,000 a year. He tells us, oh no, China will pay for those. Look, fool us once. We know what he said on, oh, Mexico will pay for the wall. The wall that he did not build, and the wall that Mexico never paid a dime for or whatever. So don't believe him on this. If he puts tariff on all these goods, it will drive our jobs overseas. You will spend your money to companies that are leaving, and we will have an additional $4,000 per family if he's allowed to do it. Look, he doesn't think it's a tariff. He doesn't think a lot of things. This is the guy during COVID that don't listen to the experts, listen to me. You know, maybe we inject some bleach or something here. This will work. That's who Donald is. He knows what it is. But remember, I'm clear about this. The Republican Party of old was not these guys. The Republican Party of John McCain or even Ronald Reagan or Eisenhower, these people actually contributed to this country, actually wanted to be part of the solution. They actually added things to this. They talked about freedom, they meant it. When Donald Trump talks about freedom, he means that government should be free to be in your doctor's office, in your bedroom, in your library, in the decisions that you make. You've heard me say it too. Things work a lot better if they just mind their own damn business and we mind our own damn business. We don't need to do it. Look, when Kamala Harris talks about freedom, she means you should be free to make those decisions. You should be the one making your health care decisions. You tell your children to work with them on what books they read, and you marry whoever you want to. They're mad that I said that they were weird on this. It is weird to think about other people's bedrooms. Let's just agree with that. So mind your own business. And I say on freedom, freedom for our seniors and our parents to be able to retire with dignity by strengthening Social Security and Medicare, not talking about that. He called it a Ponzi scheme. And again, what's he care? He's sitting down at Mar-a-Lago. He doesn't care about that check coming. My mom cares. It's food and heat, just like all the rest of us. And this is one that you know it in Michigan. We know it across this country. Our kids should be free to go to school, dress them up in their clothes, send them in there with great teachers, fund those schools, and make sure they're there to learn and that they have the freedom to not be shot dead in those classrooms. That's the thing. I'm not backing off on this one. I'm a veteran, I'm a hunter, I'm a gun owner. Kamala's a gun owner. We have spent our entire life defending to uphold the Second Amendment. We also know that you can also uphold our first responsibility, that is protecting our children, by having common sense legislation that makes life safer for those kids. And let me get close to bringing this up. We got a mix in here. I'll talk to the guys in here. Just for a moment, for all the guys in here, think about those closest to you. Think about those women closest to you, your moms, your sisters, your wives, your partners, your daughters, your aunties, whatever it might be. You're thinking about those folks in here. This election to them, literally their lives are at stake in this election. Donald Trump put those Supreme Court justices in who lied in their confirmation hearings and said they would uphold the right of women to make their own health care decisions. They did not do that. He brags about doing that. He is glad now that those women you're thinking about right now have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers had. He's proud of that. 20 states have Trump abortion bans. Yesterday, Donald Trump said that he would put RFK Jr. in charge of women's health. Now, the other night, this might make you feel better, I guess, Donald Trump said that if you're a woman, he will be your protector. And then he added, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not, which is pretty much how he's lived his whole life on everything he's done. Well, we're seeing what he's done. Women are showing up at emergency rooms and being denied care. They're having miscarriages in parking lots. And you know what else they're going to do, though? Those women are going to show up. They're going to vote Tuesday, whether he likes it or not. Whether he likes it or not. So his rhetoric around this, we know where he's at. We know exactly what he's going to do. We know he will go further by closing down fertility clinics, things that are personal to so many of us. These are things that we shouldn't have to talk about in public because they're personal business, but women and families across the country are doing it. It's why my wife Gwen and I talked about it. We struggled for years to have a child. We used fertility treatments. We finally had our beautiful daughter, Hope. He's talking about taking that away. I'll be damned if anybody in elected office should tell you what type of family you should have, when you should have it, and how you should have it. President Harris has made it clear. We are going to win back the House of Representatives, put gavels in the hands of these members of Congress, hold the Senate, and pass legislation to restore Roe versus Wade, and President Harris will sign it into law. Look, I'm pretty sure women across this country are going to go out and vote. They know what it is. It's women of all ages that understand what's at stake here. We're going to send that loud message to Donald Trump, and as I said, whether he likes it or not, we're coming to the polls. And when we win, we're going to restore those rights. So look, folks, Kamala talks about it. We're not going back. We're not going to back what Trump did. We're not letting them rewrite history. We're not letting them gut our manufacturing jobs. We're not letting them make tax cuts to the wealthiest by sticking it to the middle class. We're not letting them strip away our health care. We're not letting them do any of this. And what I'm here today is to humbly ask you on behalf of Kamala Harris and myself for your vote to take us forward to a new way of doing things, a better way forward. All right. We got Momentum's on our side. We got 4 days left. We're taking nothing for granted. I did this for too long not to take this opportunity. This game is tied. There's 2 minutes left, folks. The good news is we've got the ball. We got the best quarterback in the league with Kamala Harris having the ball. I don't care. I don't care at this point in time. This is where you dig deep. If you're tired, I've been saying, I'll continue to say it, there'll be plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. Because what we know is 1 or 2 votes per precinct in the state of Michigan could win this thing for all of us. This is where all of the rallies, all of the money that was raised, all of the talks that we've given, all of the billboards, all of the signs, all of the phone calls, all of the work we've done has to translate over the next 100 hours into more people getting that little sticker that says, I voted on them, voting for Kamala Harris. That's what it is. Now, for the young folks in here, for all of us, there's going to be a day we're going to be sitting on that porch in a rocking chair, and a little one's going to come up to us and say, tell me what you did in 2024 when everything was on the line for the democracy. What did you do? The answer for folks in this room is every damn thing we could do. That's exactly what it is. That's what it has to be with all of us. So I have to ask you, how many have early voted in this room? All right. How many have talked to somebody on the phone to get them to go vote? All right. Door knock. Got it going. All right. You get it. We're going to need you with us today. We're going to need you to finish out. This is right now. It's hard to believe. This thing will be won over the next few hours. And it's literally hours now till this is over. It's going to be won by the people who haven't been asked to vote yet or don't know if it matters. The statistics are stunning. If someone is asked to vote, the chance of them voting goes way up. If they're asked to vote and given the place where they should vote and give them a plan to vote, it goes way up. And what we know is our ground game is better on this. Donald outsourced their field program to Elon Musk. Thank God for that. Thank God. Because what we know is it's all a grift on that side. These are real bodies on the ground. These are people going to the doors. These are people doing the door knocks. So make a plan for November 5th. Make sure it's done. Make sure you're getting people out there. If you need to, it's iwillvote.com/MI. You're doing it all for a simple reason. We believe in America. We know the firewalls around Donald Trump have been down, but the last firewall still stands, the American public. Folks who know that this republic was founded on us coming together to find solutions, personal freedoms, moving the country forward, innovation. There is an opportunity to craft the next generation of American policies based on a joyful vision where everybody's a part of it, following the science, doing the things that we know make a difference. And for all of the reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, I'm not a real petty guy on this, but I'll just tell you, I might be petty on this. I just don't want to see him on TV again. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. That's a good reason. That's a good reason. So here we are. We know when we fight, we win. We've been saying that, but now we're in the final stages. We got the ball. We're driving down. We got to get it over the line. Now it's time to say, when we vote. When we vote. Michigan, win this thing for America. Let's go. Let's go.